G'day everyone, this is part 2 of working on the CKC Hiker. This knife was supplied to me by Kyley over in New Zealand. I'll have a link to his YouTube channel over on the side in the description box. Now in part 1 I explained about gluing the slabs or the scales onto the side towards the front of the scales where it'll be getting close to the edge of the knife and the main blade body of the knife. You don't want to put on too much glue, because when you apply pressure with your grips or your vise or however you fasten the scales onto the handle, the pressure will actually squeeze a lot of the excess glue out, and by having a thin layer at the front of the scales, it prevents too much glue coming forward onto the blade, which will leave you a messy cleanup afterwards. The hole in the middle of the tang here has been filled in with a lot of glue because I want a really good bond here. That scale there that you see me attaching now has also got glue on it. Now the trick here is get it perfectly aligned with the scale which is on the other side. This is one of the reasons why I prefer using hand clamps over a bench mounted vise, because you can actually control everything a lot better. If the scales move when you apply pressure, you can adjust it. It's a lot easier to do and a lot easier to see than if you have it in a bench vise. That second one is actually a cheap one that I bought, which I'm thinking about getting rid of because it's not as fine-tuned as the one with the red handle. Okay, the sanding of the handle after it's all dried took a good hour or so, so I just put in a couple of minutes here. Okay, that's a finished knife. Just wiping it down with a very damp cloth. When I mean very damp, I mean it's like barely wet. You don't want to get too much moisture on the handle, just enough to get rid of any dust. Now I'm just going to get a towel so I can dry the handle before applying oil. And the oil I always use on my handles, no matter what it is linseed oil, because it will sink into any holes in the handle. If it's got any porous areas, the oil will soak in. And I always apply the oil with my fingers, and it's the same when I clean the blade with methylated spirits. I always use my fingers, because if there's anything on the blade that you can't see, your fingers may actually feel it. Like there's actually a small speck of glue on the actual left behind on the blade when I pull this electrical tape off, and I can actually feel it with my fingers, whereas a brush or a cloth you wouldn't be able to feel it. So I always add stuff with my fingers, as long as it's not toxic. Methylated spirits is not a problem, and linseed oil is not a problem. Also, by adding linseed oil with my fingers, I can also control the amount that I put on. And that's all it takes. Now the blade is spotlessly clean. Alright, the shape of the handle. The scale on the, what I call the inside, on the left side is actually flat compared to the other one which is rounded. The other one which is rounded will fit into the palm of my hand a lot better. I've also increased the size of the finger groove at the front there, so it's a lot more comfortable for my hand, and the tip of the blade has been rounded, so you can put your finger across there without any discomfort. The back of the blade, the back half of the blade is squared off. The front of scales are angled, so you've got a nice grip for your fingers, and that is the balance point just there. What I was saying about the back of the spine of the blade being squared off near the maker's mark is so that you can use a fire steel. And the back of the handle is also rounded so that you can got a good grip on it like this when you're cutting towards yourself or back up. The butt of the handle is squarish down the bottom, but it's rounded at the back. You want the round at the back because it's going to sit inside the palm of your hand, because it's a smaller handle than usual, and you don't want any pressure sores or pressure points inside the palm of your hand. As you see, that side, the rounder side, is actually thicker than the finger side or the left side, which is flatter and thinner. I actually find that having a flat side where your fingers are and a rounded side where your palm is actually quite comfortable for that size knife. Train going past outside, I'm not sure if you can hear it. And the blue scales look quite good on there. Sorry, not blue scales, blue liners. Very simple design, and I believe everyone who's ever bought one of these from Kyley are quite happy with it. It's a very functional knife. It's a good size for wearing around your neck. I will be making a leather sheath for it so I can carry it on my belt as well. I have a Kydex sheath which Kyley sent me. And here I'm applying the linseed oil with my finger. Just one dip is enough. I also find that rubbing it in with your fingers, it's a lot better than using a rag or a brush. Also, if you're going to be storing a knife for long periods of time, giving a coat of linseed oil on the actual blade, a thick coat, and letting that stand overnight to dry actually creates a film which actually helps to prevent any rust. There you go guys, that's the finished knife. As you see the profile of the blade, the back half of the spine is squared off, the front half is rounded. There are the liners, the blue liners. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it, picked up a couple of tips. Thanks for watching.